In the Quapaw Nation, some domestic violence crimes committed against tribal members by non-Indians often went unprosecuted. But now, thanks to new jurisdiction for the Quapaw Nation, that's about to change. I'm Chris Warner with that story.
A whopper of a jobs report just came out, but is it enough to counter economic concerns about the war in Ukraine? I'm Caroline Shively. I'll have some answers coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. A La Harpe, Kansas woman is officially charged in the death of a 1-month-old boy. Allen County Attorney Jerry Hathaway says the crime happened in January, and now, after an autopsy, he's received the evidence he needs to charge Rebecca Dobbs with first-degree murder, felony murder, and aggravated child endangerment. The attorney did not release more details about what happened that led to the boy's death. Police tonight are working to recover the body of a drowning victim in northeastern Oklahoma. Happened last night at Twin Bridges State Park. According to the Grand River Dam Authority police, a man was backing his truck and boat trailer down a boat ramp when both sank into the lake, roughly 20 yards off the end of the ramp. Authorities say the driver did not resurface. Well, the Quapaw Nation now has the power to prosecute certain crimes against Native citizens on tribal lands. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with the nation's chief marshal, and Chris has more on what this means for the nation.
This week, the Quapaw Nation announced they're asserting criminal jurisdiction over non-Indians.
In the past, if a non-native commits a crime against a native person, those were federal crimes only, and the tribe did not have the jurisdiction to actually prosecute those individuals.
Quapaw Nation's Chief Marshal Charles Addington says that produced a gap which left criminals and the victims behind.
So we do have multiple cases where a non-native will come out on the reservation and be involved in an assault or domestic violence situation with a native victim. And sometimes those don't get prosecuted because of the gap. So just the ability of the tribe to be able to fill that gap and protect their citizens is just very paramount.
The new jurisdiction allows the nation to prosecute non-Indians for domestic violence crimes against Native citizens on tribal land, which, as Addington said, is something they've not been able to do.
It is a very historic time for the Quapaw tribe to be able to actually enforce and do the things that they need to do to protect their citizens within their Quapaw tribal reservation here.
Addington adds the gap with federal prosecution caused another problem to develop, criminals knowing they may be able to get away with those kinds of crimes on tribal land, which Addington says will no longer be possible.
Criminals will look for vulnerabilities and people to prey upon that they know that they may be able to get by with something. And now this will eliminate that, where if they come out and anyone assaults or is involved in one of these domestic violence crimes against a tribal member, they know now they're going to get prosecuted and prosecuted fairly quickly.
In the Quapaw Nation, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
In addition to domestic violence crimes, the new jurisdiction also includes dating violence and violations of a protective order. Meteorologist Doug Heddy joining us now. A bit cloudy today, Doug.
Yeah, cloudy, windy, but temperatures again really nice across the region. All week long we've been into the 70s, average highs 56, 73 is where we topped out. 46 is where we started during the morning hours, but you can see the clouds kind of working through. There have been some showers popping up on the radar. These are not reaching the ground. In fact, the clouds are breaking up a little bit and then they'll thicken back up. So we got 3 waves. Wave 1 passing by, wave 2, and a third one behind it. But all those are going to give us showers, thunderstorms for the weekend. I'll break that down for you here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much as always. KDOT plans a closure on this stretch of US 166 at the intersection 5 miles east of Baxter Springs. Crews are expanding the highway to 4 lanes, building 2 interchanges from 400 southeast to the Kansas-Missouri state line. Now, while the work is underway, drivers should follow the marked detour signs on 400 and US 69A. The work is expected to be finished by late May of 2024. Area middle and high school students showed what they learned about history in a competition hosted by Missouri Southern. This year's History Day competition was themed Debate and Diplomacy in History, Successes, Failures, and Consequences. Students were asked to prepare a research project and then present that project today. One student we talked to researched a woman who spied for the Confederacy during the Civil War.
I really think it makes history come alive because it shows how interesting it can be, and it's not just boring facts. It can really get into interesting topics, and it's really fun.
128 students from a dozen area schools participated today. The top 3 finishers in each category are going to move on to the State History Day contest. February's blockbuster job numbers show businesses are continuing to staff up amid the COVID recovery, but the stock market closed down today over the ongoing war in Ukraine. Fox's Caroline Shively is in Washington to explain all the numbers.
The February jobs report just released on Friday was shocking in a good way.
Our economy created 678,000 new jobs.
Analysts were only expecting 400,000 new jobs, but the extra gain pushed the unemployment rate down to 3.8%, the lowest number since the pandemic began.
It really is a very robust number.
More good news. Average hourly earnings in February rose by 5.1% year over year. But then, here's the kicker. Inflation hit a 40-year high in January, a 7.5% increase from 12 months ago, eating up the gains of those bigger paychecks. And because these numbers are from February, they won't reflect Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the resulting economic sanctions from the U.S. and allies. On Friday, the U.S. Labor Secretary admitted the war could send inflation even higher than it is today.
I think for some short-term inflation, we just need to continue to stand with the Ukrainian people. They don't deserve what they're experiencing right now. They don't deserve what they're getting, and we need to show as a world that we're united behind them.
Some analysts are pushing for the U.S. to increase its oil output.
I don't really understand quite why it is that Joe Biden has sort of declared war on American oil and gas, but we should be declaring war on Russian oil and gas.
Food prices could push even higher thanks to the war. Together, Russia and Ukraine provide more than a quarter of the world's wheat supply. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
The fighting in Ukraine intensifies after Russian forces take control of a major power plant. Thousands of refugees continue to flee. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has more.
As Russia's invasion of Ukraine enters its second week, the humanitarian crisis it's causing is only expected to get worse. Gunfire and piercing air raid sirens over Kiev Friday, while just miles outside of the Ukrainian capital, a Russian convoy remains stalled.
As those vehicles, we've seen the pictures of them, sit on a road and they're so vulnerable, the Ukrainians certainly are able to take advantage of that.
But further south, Russian troops have gained ground, seizing Europe's biggest nuclear power plant. An overnight attack by Russia caused a fire. UN officials say the fire has been put out and no radiation has been released. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, along with European Union and NATO leaders, condemned the attack. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky renewing calls for the West to enforce a no-fly zone over the country. But NATO's Secretary General ruled out that possibility.
We understand the desperation, but we also believe that if we did that, we'll end up with something that could end in a full-fledged war in Europe.
Meanwhile, the number of people fleeing Ukraine continues to climb, topping 1.2 million on Friday. UNICEF says about 500,000 of those people are children. Some refugees say they're arriving at camps feeling relieved but uncertain about what comes next.
We have mixed feelings, and we even feel a bit guilty that we are okay.
Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to visit Poland next week to show solidarity with Ukraine. In Szczecin, Poland, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Chuck Wilson served in the U.S. Army from 1985 to 1986. Native of Erie, Kansas, Wilson was stationed in Korea. We are proud to thank and salute Chuck Wilson. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. And a bit later, 4 home runs for the Pitt State Gorillas in their season opener against Missouri Western. Gonna have highlights in sports.
Well, it's Friday. We made it through another work week and temperatures all week long. Fantastic as we went into lower 70s once again for us today. A lot of clouds, a little bit on the windy side, but not bad. Over 70s. And it looks like we're going to continue to see temps into the 70s again for at least one more day. But you can see our highs, lower 70s. We dropped off just a little bit, not much. Mainly low to mid 60s. We'll only bottom out 58 to about 60 as we go through the overnight hours tonight. All right, look at the southerly winds kicking in. So these are going to stay somewhat strong as we go through the overnight hours. South winds at about 15 to 25. Looks good. 7th and range line currently outside sitting at 62. South winds at about 10. Humidity is at 46%. Had a lot of clouds, even saw a few little showers shoot through. Most of those weren't reaching the ground. Clouds are actually breaking up a bit, but will filter right back in as we go through the overnight hours. We've got first little wave passing to our north, second wave down across Arizona and New Mexico, third wave spinning just to the north of San Francisco, and those will affect us as we go through the weekend. All right, let's go through time. During the overnight hours tonight, clouds thicken up once again. Mid to late morning, we'll start to see a few showers, hit and miss, random, popping up, especially late morning, noon hour, early afternoon. There could be a few embedded thunderstorms, not expecting anything strong or severe. These push through, we get a little bit of sunshine, our temperatures warm back up. 59 to start, 67 by noon, high temp right around 71. Tomorrow evening, here comes our cold front. You can see a little line of showers and thunderstorms trying to get going. Some of these could be a little stronger. Again, not expecting anything too strong or severe. Then the line pushes through, and then we look pretty good as we get a little bit of a break in the action until clouds filter back in late Sunday. As we go into Sunday evening, showers, thunderstorms. We're going to be on the north side of a front. Some of these could be strong. Again, not expecting anything severe, but we do need to watch our far southern counties. Those are the areas that may get some low-grade severe thunderstorms, but also some heavy amounts of rain. We just get periods, showers, thunderstorms most of Sunday night, and then by Monday morning, we end with a little bit of light snow. It does not look like we're going to see any accumulations at this point in time. Rainfall, though, could see a decent amount. I think a lot of areas picking up 1 upwards to 2 inches of rain. So something we need going into the spring months, of course. 71 tomorrow, 59 on Sunday, only 41 on Monday. 48 Tuesday, back near 60 Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday we could go rain over to a little bit of snow as well. So a much cooler week next week.
I guess, like you say, we can use the rain.
Yeah, always need the rain.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much, Doug. Coming up, more restrictions coming down.
More vaccine and mask mandates are being lifted as COVID case numbers decline across the country. I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. I'll have details coming up.
At least 3 people are hurt in a school shooting in Kansas. Happened this morning at Olathe East High School in Olathe, just outside of Kansas City. Police say a school resource officer and a school administrator were shot and injured near the school's office area. The shooter was reportedly a student who was shot and restrained by the SRO officer. Authorities say both victims and the suspect are doing okay. The motive for the shooting is still unclear. No students were injured during the shooting. More cities and states are dropping those COVID-related mandates after the CDC revised its map of which counties are in high-risk areas. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seri has more from Atlanta.
It's a big step forward for the former epicenter of the COVID outbreak. New York City announcing vaccine requirements for most indoor spaces, including restaurants, will come to an end on Monday. The mask mandate for public school students K through 12 also being lifted. Mayor Eric Adams pointing to the city's 1.8% testing positivity rate as a benchmark for ending the requirements, which have been in effect for almost 2 years.
This is about giving people the flexibility that is needed to continue to allow not only safety, but we have to get our economy back on track.
The move follows similar announcements from other big cities, including Los Angeles, which lifted its indoor mask mandate Friday after the CDC revised its masking guidelines. According to the updated map, about 90% of Americans now live in areas where indoor masking is not recommended. And while some folks are more than ready to ditch the masks, others say they're still not sure.
I've been walking around without one. I'm so happy to see other people's faces and interact.
We're still trusting the science, but it's definitely nerve-wracking.
And as case numbers continue falling, fewer parents are getting their kids vaccinated, especially in rural areas, leading to new warnings from doctors and health officials.
Things can change and variants can emerge,
which would then put us back into the pandemic stage again.
According to a new CDC study, about 40% of rural parents say their child's pediatrician did not recommend vaccination. That's compared to only 8% of urban parents. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Still ahead, how some seals are helping scientists get more data deeper in the ocean. Seals are helping researchers get a deep dive into climate change in Antarctica. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten has more on how the marine animals are gathering data for scientists.
8 Wadul seals are taking the plunge, working with researchers from Japan to gather data in the cold depths of Antarctica, areas too harsh for humans to access.
During the summer, we can go by icebreakers to conduct actual research activities so that we can collect data there. But during the winter, such things cannot be done in many places.
The diving team is equipped with conductivity, temperature, and depth sensors, allowing the researchers on land to monitor their behavior and track their journeys, while recording much-needed climate change data, such as water temperatures and salt levels. Researchers are also given insights into the seals' feeding habits and the path of warm water through Antarctica.
When we analyzed the diving behaviors of the seals in the recordings, we were able to detect signals that seals were catching food in the warm water that had flowed in, as well as in the surrounding water area.
Researchers hope to take this venture even further by reshaping the sensors to fit other animals.
In the future, I would like to make the device a little smaller and apply it to more animals such as penguins. The advantages with penguins are that they can come back to the same place and we can collect the data from them immediately.
Another benefit of penguins, researchers can utilize more of them and cover a larger area. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
All right, so we're going to go from penguins to this. Another opportunity to win free beer for life, and this time, man, it's going to take some fashionable commitment. Here's a reason, maybe the only reason, to get a mullet haircut. 1977 is calling. That's the year Natural Light beer hit the market. To mark its 45th birthday, the company has issued limited edition 1977 inspired vintage cans. And those who drink the beer are being encouraged to adopt a retro look as well. The brave souls who are willing to get a mullet, you post the results to social media from now until March 31st to enter a sweepstakes. And the winner is going to get the haircut paid for by Natural Light and will also receive 2 cases of the beer in vintage cans for as many months as they keep the mullet through the rest of the year. So go ahead. You know, it's 2022. What weirder stuff has happened this year? I don't know. 30 more minutes news, weather, and sports coming away. Students in Southeast Kansas showing support for a fellow student and her native country of Ukraine.
Ukraine's refugee crisis intensifies as Russia's assault continues. I'm Greg Palcott in London. That's my story coming up.
Students and staff of Southeast High School's prized one of their very own today, a foreign exchange student from Ukraine. The school wore blue and yellow t-shirts that said, "Pray for Ukraine," showing support, of course, in light of the war going on in her home nation. KOAM's Jalen Banks checked it all out.
Now I have even more important role to be the only one Ukrainian person that people know in the community, in the area. So I just really feel lots of support here and appreciate that.
Chicago.
Just being there for her, asking her how she's doing. I think this support's amazing. Like, it brings this patriotism in our school and just in our community, like the sense of family.
So
they are in the safest region, but it's still not safe because you still wake up from the alarm sirens and you still sometimes can hear the military airplanes flying about your house. And even if they don't bomb your city, that doesn't mean that you're not being stressed. They're really emotionally exhausted because you live in that all the time.
in here at least.
You also have to remember that people can be going through a struggle with themselves, not just with what's going on in the world. So this is helping me understand. Like, she's talked to me a couple times about like what's going on, and it's made me really realize that like there's bigger things in life.
Sophia says throughout all of this, she has maintained communication with her family and that they are safe. Well, a good hands-on experience is oftentimes the most effective way to learn, right? Well, McDonald County, Missouri teacher Keith Jones has adopted that philosophy with a program he created for his junior high science students at White Rock Elementary. Jones takes students out into nature to teach lessons on science, math, and engineering, along with research and writing skills. That's why the Conservation Federation of Missouri has named Jones the Missouri Conservation Educator of the Year.
Feel like I'm cheating to get paid to do this. So there's a little bit of, getting an award for doing something that I enjoy doing anyway. I appreciate the award, but the bigger award is what I'm able to do. So.
But today, for example, students pulled winter creepers from trees in the program. They've canoed rivers, hiked through the forest, and visited conservation sites. Jones calls the program SOAP, combining the words success and hope. Cherokee American Legion Post 35 is making sure their neighbors are well fed. The post serves free food to anyone who needs a hot meal. Doesn't matter if they're from the county, anyone can swing by and get pulled pork, hot dogs, pork fajitas, and other good stuff. We caught up with the man behind the grill, Mark Nash, who told us how community members feel about this whole thing.
Cost of food is high, and then gas just went up, and they say it's supposed to go up more, so food is an essential. Make the belly feel good and nutritious. It helps our kids learn. It helps us get our work done.
Post 35 is at South Vine Street in Cherokee. Donations are accepted, but not required. Lower cost insulin may be headed to the U.S. thanks to one nonprofit drug maker. Civica RX says it plans to make and sell insulin for $30 a vial or less. That price is about 10 times cheaper than some brand name products. President Biden called for a price cap on insulin in his State of the Union address. If approved, Civica could start selling insulin products as early as 2024. Well, Google has suspended all advertising in Russia. The company released a statement about the move, saying it was, quote, in light of the extraordinary circumstances taking place right now. The decision covers all Google's ad surfaces in Russia, including Google Display Advertising, YouTube, and Search. The move follows a similar decision by Twitter last week to suspend advertising in both Russia and Ukraine. The number of people fleeing Ukraine climbs as Russia's assault continues. UNICEF saying a growing number of those refugees are children. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Pelcott has more.
Fighting in Ukraine now entering its second week, Russia is continuing to bombard residential areas across the country, forcing more than 1 million people to flee in just 7 days. According to UNICEF, 500,000 of those refugees are children. On Thursday, a camp in Romania held a makeshift birthday party for a 7-year-old girl. Officials say they're worried about the well-being of children who became refugees overnight.
The only lessons they're learning right now are, what air raid sirens mean, and the situation what a conflict actually looks like.
Yesterday, another round of talks between Russia and Ukraine ended with the countries agreeing on humanitarian corridors for refugees fleeing the fighting. The UN says this marks the quickest exodus of people this century. By comparison, the agency says it took 3 months for 1 million refugees to leave Syria in 2013. And millions more are expected to leave Ukraine in the coming weeks. Most of those fleeing have gone to Poland, with large numbers also entering Hungary and Moldova. Some say they're now faced with guilt after having to leave family members behind.
Our relatives are in a bunker right now. My son's father is in a cellar. My daughter-in-law's parents are also in a bunker, all in Ukraine.
European Union backed a plan on Thursday to grant people fleeing Ukraine temporary residency. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
A little bit later, a little can go a long way.
Just one drink a day may have a major impact on brain health. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the results of a new study that suggests there's no such thing as safe drinking.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice week, really, and today another nice day on tap for us as we did go into lower 70s for highs. A little bit on the windy side, a lot of clouds, but it's Friday, so still pretty good. But you can see most of us lower 70s across the region. Now, we've dropped off a bit over the past couple hours, but not too much. We're still sitting low to mid 60s, and I think we'll only drop back 58 to 60 as we go through the overnight hours. It's been windy. We've had these south winds kicking in most of the day at about 10 to 20, but at times we're getting gusts over 30 miles per hour. The gusts have come back or back down just a little bit. We're still getting gusts out there in that kind of 20 to 25 mile per hour range. 7th range line looking off toward the northwest, 62 easterly, southeasterly winds at about 10. Humidity is checking in at about 46%. We've had some clouds across the area kind of pushing through. We've actually cleared out a little bit over the past couple hours, but more clouds are going to filter back in with our next wave. You can see some showers starting to pick up out across western parts of Kansas. Here's our next wave rotating in, then a third wave out across northern parts of California, which will affect us on Sunday. All right, let's go through time tonight. Here come the clouds. Once again, late tonight, as we go through the morning hours, we'll start to get a few hit and miss showers popping up, and then scattered showers, maybe even a few embedded little random thunderstorms push through late morning, early afternoon, and then I think after that we clear out. In general, most of the day looks pretty good. It's still going to be a little bit on the windy side. Here's your day planner. 59 to start, 67 by noon, high temp right around 71. Still those windy conditions, south winds at about 15 to 25. Tomorrow evening, here comes our cold front. Along the front, we'll get a few scattered thunderstorms which work through. Some of these could be a little bit stronger, not anticipating anything severe. These work through, clear out late tomorrow night. We cool down. Here come the clouds again on Sunday, and by Sunday evening, showers, thunderstorms work into the area. These could be a little bit stronger, especially in our southern counties. Again, I'm not anticipating anything severe, but we could have a few stronger ones once you get into our southern counties. Periods of showers, thunderstorms Sunday night into Monday morning, and then we should end Monday morning with a little bit of a mix of rain and snow, some snow showers. I'm not anticipating any accumulation at this point in time, but of course something we'll keep our eyes on. All right, rainfall amounts, pretty good dosing. Most of us will get 1 upwards to 2 inches of rain with this next system, which is going to roll in over the next couple days. 71 tomorrow, 59 Sunday, 41 on Monday, Tuesday into the 40s. Rain back in Thursday that could end also with a little bit of snow. So a lot going on over the next few days.
Yeah, at least the temperature tomorrow is going to be good.
Yeah, I think most of the day is going to be dry.
Awesome. All right, Doug, thanks so much as always. All right, coming up in sports, Missouri Southern men hitting the floor at the MIAA tournament in Kansas City. Plus, Pittsburgh boys aiming to move on to the 5A state tournament. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The Missouri Southern men hit the floor tonight in Kansas City for their first game of the MIAA tournament. The Lions face Fort Hays State, aiming to move on to the tournament semifinals. Now, the Tigers are the 3 seed. Southern is the 6 seed. That game still going. Right now, Missouri Southern is trailing 44-34, just a few minutes into the second half. Stan Scott leads the way right now for the Lions with 13 points. The Missouri Southern women are in the MIAA tournament semifinals already. They beat Washburn 62-54 yesterday in their first game in Kansas City. And Maddie Stokes had a nice double-double with 12 points and 12 rebounds. Lacey Stokes did what she usually does, 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now, the Lions did give up the lead at one point in the third quarter, but they answered with an 18-2 run. Now, that turned out to be enough to get them over the hump and into Saturday's semifinal round.
Our 18-2 run or whatever it was, we did a much better job moving the basketball and getting open looks. We shared the basketball. We got some good penetration kick, make the extra pass, knocked down some perimeter shots, got it into the post, scored there. Then our defense was just really good. We got some stops, got a couple things in transition, which once we get going in transition, we're tough to stop because she gets downhill. You're so worried about her that you have a tendency to forget about everybody else on the floor.
To high school now in Pittsburgh, the Purple Dragons host Blue Valley Southwest for a 5A sub-state title. Jinu Kim drives and scores 8-0 run for Southwest to begin the game. Other end, big 3 for Pittsburgh's Grant Rolfs. But the Purple Dragons down 9 after 1. In the second, Mason English, really tough shot, goes 15 for English in the first half, 25 for the game. But the Timberwolves pull away. Back to Kim, two-handed jam there. Then start to take advantage of their size. Carson Schweiger turns and scores. He gets 12. Dragons fall tonight 70-42. Blue Valley Southwest moves on to the 5A state tournament.
We talked about at halftime, we just got to go out there, compete, and represent, and I was really proud of the guys for all coming out and making sure that they just left it all out there, and we did a lot of the little things right that we talked about and just competed till the end, and I'm really proud of them for that.
Missouri Southern Baseball opened their 3-game series with Northwest Missouri with a 5-2 win yesterday. The Lions have now won 3 straight games and are 10-7 this season. The Southern back on the field today for Game 2 against the Bearcats. Northwest scores 2 runs off errors. Then Tommy Stevenson out to center. He hit 2 today, has an MIAA leading 10 homers this season. A few batters later, Jordan Fitzpatrick solo shot. The game is tied, and Southern doesn't stop there. Next inning, Ryan Doran and Matt Miller go back-to-back. That one there is from Miller, his 6th. Still in the second, Stevenson back to work, lines it to right for an RBI single. Brings home Clay Milas. Now in the third, it's Doran again. That'll be his 2nd homer of the game, 5th of the season. 6 jacks today for the Lions. They go on to win this one 8-6. To Pittsburgh, series opener today between the Gorillas and Missouri Western. They were down 3-0 early, but here, Cruz Aranda to dead center. Clears the wall for the solo shot. Aranda goes 3 for 4 with a pair of RBIs. Later, bottom of the first, Garrett McGowan. Not gonna lie, I lost it in the clouds here. Hit it really far. 8th homer of the season for McGowan. Gorillas within 1. And they would take their first lead here in the 4th. Ryan Koval. Laser shot up and out to left. Bounces it off the road out there. His 1st of the season. Puts Pitt State up 4-3. Caden Fowler adds a 2-run jack in the 8th. Gorillas take the opener over Western 9-4. Missouri Southern softball is hosting the Lion Classic this weekend. The Lions are on the field this afternoon to open the Classic with a doubleheader against McKendree. Now here's game 1. Kara Amos gets her swinging. She pitches 7 innings, gets 7 strikeouts. Scoreless after 3. In the top 4, Kelsey Sachs base hit. Paige Hayden comes home, the first run of the game. The Lions answer in the bottom half. Leighton Withers pops it up to right. Josie Topai takes off from third. Comes in for the tying run. Later, Kristen Wade on third. Check it out, Abby DeSanto into pinch hit. Her 1st homer of her career gives the Lions the lead. Southern hangs on to win game 1, 4-2. Game 2, Southern trying for the sweep. They do it in blowout fashion, 10-2. Ashlyn Williams gets a double and a triple and drives in 4. Adriana Young gets a triple and drives in 3. And that's a look at sports.
This research shows heavy drinking is not good for the brain, and now a new large study shows even just 1 drink a day may have an impact. Reporter Bradley Blackburn has more on the findings.
Many people enjoy the occasional glass of wine with dinner or a drink to wind down at the end of the day.
Red wine and chocolate is a good combination.
I usually have probably 1 drink later on in the evening.
Research has long shown that those who drink heavily have changes in the structure and size of the brain that are associated with cognitive impairments. But now a new study finds even just a few beers or glasses of wine a week may also be risky.
Were you surprised by what you found?
I was. I was surprised at just how little alcohol seems to be necessary to reduce brain volume.
Dr. Henry Kranzler and researchers from the University of Pennsylvania looked at data on more than 36,000 adults and found light to moderate drinking was associated with reductions in overall brain volume.
What happens in cases where people drink far more than 1 drink a day?
The reductions are proportional. So the more you drink, the smaller the volume.
For example, in 50-year-olds, increasing drinking from about half a beer a day to a pint of beer led to changes in the brain equivalent to aging 2 years. Dr. Kranzler says the study's findings are in contrast to current guidelines on safe drinking limits, which say no more than 1 drink per day for women, no more than 2 drinks per day for men.
It's reasonable to have a small amount of alcohol, but I would discourage people from drinking more than 1 or 2 drinks on any occasion, and no more than probably 7 drinks on average in a week.
Dr. Kranzler says about a third of the adult population drinks more than recommended, so cutting back could have real benefits.
CDC data shows 2 in 3 adult drinkers report drinking above moderate levels at least once a month. Coming up, going to check out a new book-to-screen thriller now on Netflix. A new book-to-screen thriller is now streaming on Netflix with The Weekend Away. We caught up with star Leighton Meester to talk about the movie, its mystery and motherhood. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
2 weekends away with best friends.
Leighton Meester leads Netflix's book-to-screen mystery thriller, The Weekend Away, about a new mom on a getaway in Croatia, which takes a frightening turn when her best friend vanishes.
You think it was an accident?
Meester was intrigued with how the film is set in this snapshot of life.
Where she's becoming a new mother, you know, obviously that's not something that that happens. You sort of become that. Her whole life is changed, you know, her relationship, her marriage, her friendships, her career, her body, everything that she is being redefined. I think one of the things that sort of has taken a backseat is her belief in herself and her instincts.
And she connected to aspects of the character's backstory.
That was actually one of the things that drew me to the character, was the fact that she's a new mom, and what she's been going through for the last year of her life has been a unique, like, challenging time. And this weekend away means so much more than just time away from her kid. It's this whole other experience. Obviously, it becomes very different than what you expect.
I don't know who to believe.
From this to the comedy How I Met Your Father, Leighton adds she very much appreciates the variety.
The suspense thriller part, which I thought was probably the most challenging, at least for me. Some of the physical and emotional heightened moments were definitely up there for me. But I like both. I like all of it.
I need to find out the truth.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a baby Humboldt penguin at the Brookfield Zoo just outside of Chicago. Hey, have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.